Hello friends, welcome to this knowledge sharing session related to driving theory. So today we will understand the priority at cross points. Okay, so we will see who gets priority at the junctions or the cross points. So let's get started. All right, so what are we learning today? What you will learn new today and what you will understand today. So we will understand 6 topics today. All right. So the first thing is we will understand the hierarchy of priority. So you will basically understand who will get, whose rules, let's call it this way. You will understand whom you should follow. There are different things. There are traffic boards, there are traffic signs, there is also a person who's regulating the traffic. So whom should you follow? So that thing you will understand in this topic, the hierarchy of priority. The next thing you will understand is who an authorized person is. So if there is a person and then he's giving you a direction and he's asking you to stop, should you follow him or should you ignore him? So who is an authorized person? Whom should you follow when you are on roads? Next, we will understand a little bit about traffic lights, and then we will understand about the traffic signs and road markings. And we will also talk about the general rules at cross points. So what are generally, if there are no boards, if there are no traffic lights, if there are no signs, so you will then you will understand in this topic what to do, what are the general rules that you should apply. So these are very important to understand to avoid, let's say, accidents. Then finally, we will talk about the pedestrian and bicycle priority rules at cross points. So today we will focus our discussion on cross points, and then we will see everything that we have to keep in mind when we are reaching a cross point or crossing a cross point or junction. We also call those as junctions. All right, so let's move on to the first topic, the hierarchy of priority. So let's understand the topic hierarchy of priority. Okay, just remember these 4 pictures. There is a police officer who's regulating the traffic, the left picture, then there are the traffic lights, and then there are traffic signs, and finally there are traffic rules. So remember these 4 pictures. So that's the way the hierarchy works. There's the authorized person at the top, then there are traffic lights, then there are traffic signs or road signs, and finally at the end are traffic rules. So if there are no boards, let's say if there are no traffic lights and if there are no traffic signs, then what do you follow? Then you have to know the basic rules, the basic traffic rules. So for example, at a cross point, you have to always give priority from right if there are no traffic lights, if there are no traffic signs. Okay, so if you don't give the priority from right, there might be accidents. So the rules come at the end. If there is nothing, if there are no traffic signs or traffic lights, then you just follow the rules. The next thing is the road signs. So let's say there are road signs. There you have to follow the road signs. So for example, the rules say that within a built-up area, you can drive at a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour in Belgium. Now, those are the rules. But then, let's say you enter a built-up area and you see a board that says that you have to drive at 30 kilometers per hour. So what do? Do you follow the rules or do you follow these signs? Obviously, you have to follow signs because those have more priority or higher priority when compared to rules. All right, so let's move on. We have rules, we have traffic signs, and then we have traffic lights. The traffic lights get more priority than the traffic signs or the rules. So if there are traffic lights, you just follow the traffic lights. So if there is a red light, you just stop. If there is a green light, you go. There, for example, at a cross point, you are on a road, and then you just try to follow the priority from right rules. Okay, there it is okay to follow the rules if there are no traffic lights and if there are no traffic signs. And if the traffic lights, for example, they are not working, then you just follow the traffic signs. And if the traffic signs are not there, you just follow the rules. Okay. And the most important person in this hierarchy is the officer who is regulating the traffic. So he is the ultimate, he's the person that you have to follow him if he's there. So at that time you can just ignore the traffic lights, ignore the traffic signs, ignore the rules. So for example, if there is a green light for you, and then the traffic police man or the traffic police agent, he asks you to stop, and he asks all the other traffic to stop, you have to stop. You just cannot say, okay, there is green light and then I will just go. No, that's an offense. So you just follow the traffic police officer if he's there. If he's not there, just follow the traffic lights. And if those are also not there, follow the traffic signs. And if those are also not there, then just remember the rules and stick to the rules. All right, let's move on. So now let's look at who an authorized person is. Who is an authorized person? It's important to remember who these people are. They are the police officers. And when the police officer is not there, they can be the military police, the railway officer, customs officers, fire brigade. In some cases, let's say at a bus stop, there can also be the public transport officer, for example, the people from the lane service. Okay, so a police officer or a traffic regulating agent, what indications does he give? So there are some indications that he gives, and those you have to know, you have to understand to understand if he is asking me to stop or if he's asking me to go. So basically, to stop, he gives two kind of indications. One is the horizontal stretched arm. In this case, it can be both the arms or just one arm. So the other indication is a vertical stretched one arm. Okay. The horizontal stretched arm, just remember the no entry sign. If you remember, this is a no entry board. Just remember this horizontal line and then just try to relate it to the horizontal stretched arms. Okay, which means that you have to stop if you are coming in from the front or from the back of the officer. Okay, so just remember this board, and when you see the board, you cannot enter that street. Just remember that there is a similar board behind this board also. So anyone coming from the front of this front or the back, they have to stop. Anyone from the other sides, like the left and the right, they are allowed to go in this case. Okay. In the second case, when he raises his arm vertical, which means that all road users, everyone has to stop except for those people who are already at the cross point. Let's say you are already on the junction, then you have to clear the junction as soon as possible. Okay, you shouldn't stop right on the junction. It's like hindering the traffic. So when he raises this arm, everyone else has to stop except for the people who are on the junction. They just have to clear the junction as soon as possible. The other indications he may make can be the twisting movement with one arm. So he's twisting his arm, so it says keep going. And he can also do a wave, a perpendicular wave in your direction with a red light, and that indicates you to stop. All right, so these are the 4 type of indications that the police officer makes, which you should understand and then follow when you come across one of these. Let's now move on to the traffic lights, the second, which gets the next priority below the traffic regulating agents or the authorized persons. So it's very interesting. Traffic lights, they are always in this order. There's red, orange, and then there is green at the bottom. So why red at the top? The reason is red means stop, orange is green means you can go, red is stop, green is go. Orange means you should stop if it is safe. It's not that you just put your when you see orange you just put your brakes and stop. No, that's not the right way. You should stop when you see orange, but only if it is safe. So the red is at the top so that the people or the users of the road can already see it from a very far away distance. That's why red is always at the top. Just remember this. The reason why red at the top is because you can see that light also from far away. Okay, so there can be also a flashing orange, which means that you can drive through, but you have to be double careful. So in addition to these solid lights which you see in one, there can also be the arrows which indicate the same. But the difference is that when you see when you see an arrow, that light is only applicable in that direction. So in this case, the arrow says green only for right, which means you can go right from here. You are not allowed to go left or or straight. For that, they will also have a red light. So just remember that they are kind of similar photos, but the arrow indicates that the rule or the rule applies only for that direction. Okay, so we just saw arrow in the previous slide, but there can also be a combination of lights. Like in this example, there is a red light and then there is a green arrow indicating that you can go right. And this indicates that only the traffic that has to turn right is allowed to turn right. The rest of the traffic, which, for example, the one that has to go straight or left, they have to wait because for them it's still red. Okay, and when you see such a board, it's important that when you are turning right, in this case, you give priority to the other road users. For example, there might be pedestrians who might be crossing the road, or there might be bicycles. So just pay attention and give priority to the people who are crossing the road, people or the bicycles. This is a very interesting case, a very special case where the arrow is on your left. There is a green arrow and this light or the traffic light is towards your left. Not usually, it's always the traffic lights will be onto your right. So for example, if there is a traffic light on your right which shows red, then you have to stop. And usually you might have seen roads when there is a traffic light towards your left that is red, and then there is a road that allows you to go right, turn right. In that case, you don't have to stop. So the traffic lights will always be towards your right, but there is a special case where there is a green traffic light with an arrow towards your left. This indicates that you can safely and you must quickly cross over if you're going left, because all the other traffic will be held up for you. Everyone else will have red till this green is lighting, and then you can safely cross over. Okay, so this light is also called as sometimes as evacuation light, because it's trying to evacuate the traffic from the let's say from the junction. Okay, let's look at this. There are two traffic lights. We see one light and both are green. One is for the pedestrian and the other one is for the car or the other vehicles which are driving on the road. So this pedestrian has to cross the road, and he is allowed to do that because he has green light. And the car wants to turn right, and he is also allowed to do that because he also sees a green arrow. That's interesting. Now, who has to drive first, or who has to cross the road first? It's obviously the pedestrian. You have to always give priority to the pedestrians when they are crossing the road. Also, because the pedestrian has a green, so he has priority. He will cross over first, and then when you are turning right, you also have to give priority to him. Also, you are turning right, which is a maneuver, which about maneuvers we'll talk about later. And when you are doing a maneuver, you will always give priority. That's a general rule. So turning right, turning left, those are all part of maneuvers. Changing lane, for example, that's also a maneuver. We'll talk about maneuvers later in the other lessons, but here clearly you are doing a maneuver, and then you have to give priority to the pedestrian who's crossing over the road. So lights at level crossing, that's where the train tracks are. And when you are crossing over, when you are crossing a level crossing, pay attention to the lights there. The red one, the blinking light red one, says that you have to stop, and below that is a moonlight, a white moonlight, and that is also blinking, which indicates you may cross the level crossing. Okay, so here we are trying to compare the two lights, the normal lights for the traffic and then the lights for the trams. And it's again very interesting because the top light we have already seen that it's always red. So similar case, the top light for tram is also an indication for them to stop. Okay, so the top light for tram looks this way with the horizontal line, and the indication for them to go is a vertical line. Just see here, compare it to the green light, and then the orange is a kind of small circle within the traffic light. Okay, that's a very straightforward comparison between the lights for the general traffic and then also for the trams. Now that we have discussed the authorized person and then the next level, which is the traffic lights, now let's look at the traffic signs and road markings. So you will follow this if there is no authorized person and if there are no traffic lights. Okay, priority from right. This is very, very important. This is the general rule in Belgium, that the vehicle which is on your right goes before you. Okay, so on your right hand side, the vehicle at the junction, when there is a vehicle that's coming from your right, that goes first. It doesn't matter in which direction the vehicle is going. If it is coming from right, you have to give the vehicle priority to first cross the junction. Okay, so this priority from right applies everywhere where there is this board. So the board that you see indicates that at this junction you have to follow the priority of right rules. So you can see that here there is a board, here also there is a board, here also. So everyone knows here that there is a priority of right to follow. So everyone has to give priority to the vehicle that is on its right. So even if the boards were not here, for example, if this and this and this were not here, if there was just this road and these three cars, then also the rule says that you will have to follow the priority of right at junctions. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the priority of right board is there or not, you just follow the priority of right. In this case, the green car, which is on the, so let's start with the red car. So the red car should give priority to the blue car because it's on its right, and the blue car should give priority to the green car because it's on its right side of the blue car. So green car goes first, next is the blue, and then is the red. It doesn't matter. Let the green car is allowed to go straight or left or make a U-turn, whatever. The green car goes first, then the blue car, and then the right car. In which direction they are going, it doesn't matter here. Okay. Okay, in the last example, we saw priority from right. So here we don't, don't have any boards. Let's say even this board was not existing. Then also you should have followed the priority of right, because if there are no boards also, you follow the priority of right. That's the general rule. Now, there is something called as shark teeth. This board indicates give priority board, and this is also followed with a sharp teeth on the road. So you will see this kind of teeth on the road. Usually these are white, but just to be more clear, I have marked it as red. So this indicates when you see this sharp teeth, it means that you have to give priority to all the other traffic. So here you see it, this blue car goes last. The blue car has to wait till the green car passes, then the red car passes, or the red car goes first, or the green car. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but the blue car has to be the last car that goes. So it has to give priority to all the traffic that is coming from both the directions. Priority at cross point board. So these boards that here you see, it indicates that you have priority at this junction because you are on this main road. So this thick line is the main road and the thin line is the side road. So here again, this board here is indicating is an indication for the green car that this car is also on this priority. This car has priority on this junction, but the car coming from the side here doesn't have the priority. So it's a very similar case which we discussed in the last slide. There is a shark teeth, and this shark teeth indicates that this car has to go last. And for the other cars, they will see this kind of board which indicates to them that they have priority or they are on the main road. The thick line is the main road and the thin line is the side road. So the red car or the green car goes first, doesn't matter, but the blue car is the one that goes last. The blue car has to give priority to the traffic that is coming from the other, from both the sides. So not just one side, it's from both the sides, and then the blue car goes at the end. Okay, in some cases, they will replace the sharp teeth with a stop line. So this is a stop line, which is a thick white line, followed with a stop board. So this stop board indicates that you have to give priority, but what is the difference between sharp teeth and a stop sign? Stop sign, in both the cases, you have to give priority to the traffic in coming from both directions. But when you see a stop sign, you must compulsorily, mandatorily stop and give priority. While in the other case, you can be careful. You don't have to stop. If the roads are empty, if you can just move on. But when you see a stop sign, even if the roads are empty, you have to stop the car. Very, very important. You have to stop the car, look around, look to your right, look to your left, and then go. And if there are vehicles, stop and give priority. You are still the last one who will have to cross the junction, but in this case, you have to stop and give priority. Priority at cross point board. So these boards here are very similar to the one that we already have seen, which indicates the main road and the side road. So very similar, but it just these boards give you very clear indication of where the main road is and where the side road is. So you can see that it's indicating the side road towards your left, that's your top left, so that's where the side road is, and here it indicates to the top right. So it's very similar, both indicates the path of the road, indicates the main road and the side road, and indicates who gets priority. So the red car and the blue car, they get priority at this junction, and the green car will go at the end. So the green car has to give priority to all the other traffic on the road. Okay, so till now we have been discussing priority at one junction. Let's say there are multiple junctions. Let's say there are one road. This is one junction. If you go ahead, there is a second junction. So let's say there are multiple junctions. When you see this board here, this indicates a priority board, which means that the road you are riding on is a priority road. So you will get priority, or you will have priority at all the other junctions. So this is one of the junction. You will also have priority at the other junction, third junction, fourth junction. So you will be riding on a priority road. And when does this end? When you see this end of priority road sign, then ends the priority road. And then after this sign, maybe there is a traffic light which says, which is regulating the traffic. But till you don't see this end of the priority road, you are on the priority road. So this priority sign or priority road sign will be repeated after every junction. So it's a kind of a reminder for you that you are still on a priority road. So you get priority. All the traffic from the other side roads will give you the priority. They might have a stop sign, they might have shark teeth, doesn't matter, but they will give priority to you, and you will be driving on the priority road. Now let's talk about the last thing, the general rules, the last thing in the hierarchy. That's the general rules at the cross points. So if there are no traffic lights, if there are no traffic signs, you just remember the rules and follow them at the cross points. Basic priority rules at the cross point. Okay, so I have listed the rules here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first one is always approach the cross point carefully. Always be careful, even if you have priority, just don't go at the maximum speed at the cross points. It's very, very dangerous. Go slowly. Even if you have priority, you should be very, very careful when you are approaching the crossroads. There might be pedestrians, there might be bicyclists, there might be children. So it's very important that you drive at a very careful speed and be double careful when you are approaching these cross points. At an intersection, if there are no authorized people, no traffic lights, no traffic signs, etc., then you follow the rules, the general rule, which is priority from right. So if you are at a junction where there is nothing, there are no rules indicated, you just give priority from right. If you are coming from a dirt road, or if you are coming out of a coming out from a parking is also a maneuver. So we'll talk about that later. So if you are coming out of a dirt road or parking, you have to give priority for the traffic that is already on the road. You should always give priority to the priority vehicles. For example, the police or the ambulance or the fire engine vehicles. So you have to give priority to them always. You don't get priority if you are coming from a prohibited direction. So you're already breaking rules. You're already doing an offense, and you should never come out of a road where you are not allowed to drive. And then if you are coming out, you don't get priority. So, for example, there is a car coming from the right side of the road, and the traffic is not allowed in the road. Then the car doesn't get priority. Always give priority to the vehicles on the rails, for example, the trams. So you should always be careful when you are driving very close to this trams. They always get priority. Okay, the last topic for this priority rules at junction is the pedestrian and bicycle priority rules. So what is a zebra crossing? This is what a zebra crossing is. It's a crossing, it's a bridge. You can think of it as a bridge for the pedestrians to cross over the road. So a zebra crossing, at the zebra crossing, the pedestrians will always get priority. So if there is someone who's trying to cross over the road here, you should give priority to the person there. Okay, so you can think of this zebra crossing as a continuous sidewalk for pedestrians. So here you can see a sidewalk for the pedestrians or a footpath, and then you can think of this as a continuous sidewalk for the pedestrians. So basically they are just walking on this on their sidewalk, and if you are coming on this, if you want to drive on this zebra cross, then you are actually entering their sidewalk. So when you are entering their sidewalk, you have to give them priority. Okay, so if the blue car obviously has to give priority to the pedestrian here, and if the red car is turning right, he also has to give priority to the pedestrian here. So the pedestrian gets the priority. The blue car and the red car, they have to give priority to them. The pedestrian must always use zebra crossing if the zebra crossing is within 20 meters of their reach. Okay, if it is very close by, they have to use a zebra crossing to cross the road. If they're not on the zebra crossing, they don't get priority. So let's say the person is standing here and he wants to cross over here, he doesn't get priority. He has to wait till the road is clear and till it is safe to cross over. What about bicycles? We have discussed about pedestrians. What about bicycles? A bicycle lane is indicated by two parallel broken lines. So you see here, this is one line, this is second line. So these are two parallel broken lines, and that indicates a bicycle lane. There's also this traffic sign here, the big one, which shows that this is a bicycle lane. Okay, so on a bicycle lane, it's something that it's a part of it's a lane reserved for the bicycles. So if a car is entering this bicycle lane, he has to give priority to the bicycles which are already on this lane. And this car, if it is turning right, then it is also entering the bicycle lane. Then this car also has to give priority to the bicycles which are already on the bicycle lane. So the bicycles on the bicycle lane gets priority. Now, there is a suggested cycle lane. You see now there are no two parallel broken lines. It's just a marking on the road. It can be with a different color. It's just a suggested lane for the bicycle. So this is not a reserved lane for the bicycle. In this case, the bicycle cannot the bicycle cannot say that, okay, I'm riding on the bicycle lane, because it's not a bicycle lane. In this case, because there are no boards, the priority of right rule should be followed. So the cycle also has to wait in this case and give priority to the blue car, because the blue car is coming from the right. So the blue car goes first, and then either of the two. So if the red car is turning right, then he has to give priority to the bicycle. That's something different. But the important thing to note here is, if it is not a bicycle lane, then it's just a suggested lane. Then the bicycles cannot claim that they have priority there. So what we learned today, we learned about the priority at cross points. So we learned about the hierarchy of priority. There's a policeman, then there is the traffic lights, the traffic signs, and then the traffic rules. We understood who an authorized person is, what are traffic lights. We understood the traffic signs and road markings. What are the general rules at the cross point if there are no traffic lights or no traffic signs? And then we also understood about giving priority at a cross point for pedestrians and bicycles. That was it for today. See you again with another topic. Till then, bye-bye.